Welcome, fam. This is episode 5, The Good, Bad, and Ugly with Jose. I have a great guest for you today, Mr. David Ross. Woohoo! So we'll start off, David. Can you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and tell us about your journey in real estate?
Oh, thanks, Jose. I really appreciate you having me on. This is amazing. You're one of my favorite people, and really enjoy getting to know you over the last several months when we've been in Owners Club and gone on different retreats, and we've been collaborating a lot over co-living and different breakout groups, and just sharing what we've learned and are learning together, trying to figure out how to be industry leaders and disrupt and help transform what affordable housing looks like. But yeah, so my journey started it started 20 years ago when I became really interested in real estate and went to real estate school, got an A in the class, all the things. And then we put it on hold for 15 years, waiting for God to say, okay, now is actually the time to go.
Okay.
So that happened 5 years
licensed ago. From real estate school?
I did not get licensed.
Okay, just checking.
There's a lot of different things to go with being licensed that I did not want to have to disclose that I am a licensed real estate agent. Every single conversation I ever have, there's additional insurance and liabilities and things that go with that.
Absolutely.
And I personally, like for me and my journey, that was not something that I saw that added value. There are a million real estate agents, and it's something like 90% or 80% get out of the business their first year. They do not make it 1 year. And 95% of agents do not make it 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are staggering. Like almost nobody makes it. And the very few that do, they can make a lot of money, but almost everybody is break even or loses money. The costs are too high.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
My journey started 5 years ago. In reality, that's when I first went to a week, like a free lunch and a weekend training, another weekend training, and got into this mentorship training coaching program. Learned a lot. Spent about $25,000 in order to figure out really how to wholesale. But it got me in the game. And so we bought our first house using the BRRRR method, where we buy, rehab, rent, and then refinance, and then repeat the process, right? And we got our cash out. So we bought a house in October, bought another house in December, bought another house in March or April. And then I was like, whoa, we've got 3 houses. And then end up through a variety of circumstances, started our own property management company. A couple years later, we started our own remodeling company. Over the last 5 years, we just did our 15th deal and getting ready to buy our 16th property. But we've done some with partners, some with outside money. A lot of it, we use our own capital, for the first big bunch of them. But now we've got the experience and we know how, like, the controls in place that we need to do. So now it's time to scale it up.
So quick question for you. You said you have 15 properties going on 16. What is the strategy you use on those? Are they all long-term, short-term? How many of them are co-living?
Yeah. Property number 2 and 3, we started out renting by the bedroom 5 years ago. Didn't know it was called co-living. Didn't know there was a term for it. But about 6 or 8 months later, our property management said, here you go, David, you can have the keys. Like, you can take over the property management. We just learned there's this old law from the 1800s in the city of Hickory, and it says you cannot have more than, I forget the number of unrelated people that can live in a house. So therefore, this house would be considered a boarding house or a rooming house. And so I can't manage your properties anymore. Here you go. You can have it back. And that's when we started our own property management company, right? That was my entrance into what is co-living, right? And is it legal and is it not legal, right? And so there were some of those kind of scary moments at the
Right.
beginning to say, oh, wait a second. So then we changed our strategy, right? And so then instead of renting out 5 bedrooms individually to different people, now we still had the same, like, we're that house and other house we rent to college student athletes that are close by. And
Okay.
so the whole, like, everyone in that house was part of the same team for the college. But so then moving forward, we just rented the whole house to all 5 residents. The other house had 4 residents. Now that first house has 7 residents because we converted a living room and a little side room into 2 more bedrooms
As
and
you
increase
learn,
the rent.
you improve, right?
That's it. And we'll probably convert and, like, start renting those by the bedroom moving forward. Um,
Nice.
yeah. So right now we have 7 long-term rentals, and then we sold a duplex and a single-family house that were our other long-term rentals, and we've done 4 flips. And let's see, number 15 is a house in Phoenix that is almost done being renovated.
Which
It
is
should be
so
done. We're
jealous
supposed
of
to get
your
certificate of
partner was on
occupancy. Yeah,
that.
inspection on Thursday this week, so a couple days.
How's that process been? You want to tell everybody who you're partnered with on that one?
Yeah, so my financial partner is Kanil Dashi. He's also in Owners Club with us. Um, but the people
His
doing the
wife,
renovation
Varsha.
is Jamil Damji's sister, Rahima. So she's leading the remodel with Abel, and then she started her own property management company called Banana Split Property Management. And so then she'll be managing the properties for us. So really amazing opportunity, and learned so much from Rahima. We talked almost every single day for 6 weeks straight. Um, but it's a really neat property. It's not in the best neighborhood. It's in South Phoenix, about 1 or 2 miles south of the airport.
Okay.
But it's a working class neighborhood. It's like a C or D class neighborhood. It's one of those neighborhoods that has gone down, but it's starting. It's maybe 20% remodeled and, like, coming back right now.
Sure.
But it's a couple blocks from tons of industrial and work and like factories and all like big industrial area. Um, 2 or 3 blocks from main bus lines, so there's lots of public transportation. There's 3 churches within a couple blocks. It's one of those, like, neat neighborhoods that is kind of close to the city. It's close to a lot of different things, and is perfect for workforce housing, co-living.
Right. So, working with Jamil's sister, they have a different format or structure when they do their homes compared to the way that I was taught.
Mhm.
For me, I think Pat Split does what, 4 to 1, 4 bedrooms to 1 bath, and I was taught basically 3 to 1. But their format is different. Can you share on how they kind of approach it, the co-living in a different manner?
Yeah, their strategy. So number one, I think one of the reasons we have to understand why is their strategy different, and why does it work for them, and why does it maybe not work for some people, right? So
Right.
Rahima is and her right hand person Abel, they've been in construction and they know construction like the back of their hand, and they can go in and gut things to the wall, and then, right, take everything out and put everything back. We're doing $180,000 remodel in
Wow.
7 weeks.
That's
Crazy,
good.
right? Gut it to the studs, trenched through the concrete to put new plumbing, sewer lines, and then and we're also adding 350 feet on the backside. So it started out 1,150 square feet. It will now be 1,510 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. So their strategy is, it doesn't really matter what the building looks like today. We're going to redo the whole thing anyways. Where
Right.
okay, so then so everything is brand new. New bathroom, new flooring, new kitchens, New exterior siding. If they have to fix the roof, they fix the roof. New HVAC, but they're putting one bathroom for every single bedroom. HVAC units that are mini split in every single bedroom. And that way the residents can control their own temperature. And then the
Nice.
common area has a kitchen and like a living room, common area, space for eating and that kind of thing. And
Gotcha.
so that room is quite a bit bigger. And
Right.
so there you have two mini splits there. And then inside every bedroom, there is a college dorm room size refrigerator, freezer, and microwave. And
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
there's
It's like
also
a
full kitchen.
built-in kitchenette.
Well, almost. Like it doesn't have the extra sink, but you have a sink in the
Sure.
bathroom.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then we're like that specific house, because it's in an area that I'm gonna call it more transient.
Sure.
A lot of our target residents, that market does not necessarily have as a general population, they do not have their own furniture.
Right.
And so we're going to provide the furniture.
Okay.
The alternative is if that we did not provide the furniture, the risk is a lot of people would pick up furniture out of the alley or at some discount resale store. And then you're bringing the bugs, the mildew, like everybody else's problems into your newly renovated house. And then you're adopting their problems. And so it's much cheaper and it's a much better experience for people. They can just move right in. They'll have a bed, a dresser, a nightstand. And there's also a TV that's mounted to the wall that's a smart TV. And so it pulls off of the house Wi-Fi. And so we provide all the utilities as well. It's all included in the same rent price. Really
So
amazing model.
why choose co-living over the half a dozen other exit strategies you could possibly use? Why do you like that model best?
So I think we probably match in this same perspective that co-living is one of those. It's a strategy where everybody wins, and it's needed in a massive way for our country. The price of housing is going up dramatically, and it's so fast, and yet people's wages are not going up as fast, and so people cannot afford even a one bedroom or a studio apartment. And so this provides several different benefits to the resident. Number one, it provides a chance that they can live in a much nicer house in much nicer place, ideally typically in a nicer part of town as well, closer to work, closer to the things that they're involved with for their life. Number two, they get to live with other people. And some people say, oh, well, that's not as good. Other people say it is better. I challenge you with data, right? I'm a big data guy. I heard that the new pandemic in our country is loneliness. And I've heard it equated to somebody that is lonely. It's like smoking 11 cigarettes per day.
Wow.
And how many people strive, and like we're taught through our society, through our friends, like, oh, get freedom and you gotta go and move out and like get your own place.
Yeah.
The reality is that the people that create community, they create the togetherness, they create the living, doing life together. They're the people that are the happiest, the most enriched, the people that give more than anything. They help others and other people help them, and together we're doing life together. That does things like reduce depression, reduce anxiety. You have less medicine. You have reduced chance of disease, cancer, like all these things. And those also increase the lifespan of the people. I heard
Exactly.
another friend, Catherine Carlson, who's in Owners Club. She made a post on social media a couple months ago. And she said something to the effect of, my roommate, that she lives in a co-living house in the Orlando, Florida area. And she said, my roommate woke me up at 2:00 in the morning and he was really sick. And so I took him to the hospital. That saved him from calling 911, having an ambulance come and pick him up, take him to the hospital. Like, it's little things like that where we can help our neighbor, help our roommate, help our community.
Right.
And that roommate saved thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from not having to pay for that ambulance ride and go through all the extra stuff.
And then allow that
And then
resource to be used for somebody else that may really need it more, right?
yes, yes.
That's awesome.
Then from the lender side, you have more people. Like the predictability of the cash flow is much better. From the investor side, well, let's talk about the community side first. The community wins because the city and the county can turn their existing single family housing buildings into multifamily effectively.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you can have more dense populations without building additional buildings. So now your city can grow, and it can grow really, really quickly.
Sure.
Just like that. And then for the investor side, we can make a lot more cash flow, right, by providing that amazing housing experience. So typically, a room is going to rent for in the neighborhood of 70 to 80% of what is a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, or a studio apartment is going to rent for. Now all of a sudden you've got 6 bedrooms times, let's say $800 instead of $1,050 to $1,100. That's what our local market in the Hickory, North Carolina area is.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a house that we rent our 7-bedroom house for $2,200 a month. That same house, if we convert to co-living at $800 a month times 7 bedrooms, $5,600. Now we're gonna come out of pocket. Like we'll have some additional expenses. Our property management is a little bit more. We'll pay for the utilities. But now all of a sudden, we're not looking for new properties that are going to make $100 or $200 or $500 a month,
right,
as a home run deal as a rental property.
Now you're at $1,700-$1,800 a month.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and so
curious.
literally everybody wins with co-living.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you have a property management company. Do you use your company to manage your properties, or do you actually use a third party for your own personal properties?
That is very interesting. So that is, it's changing right now. So
Yeah.
we ebb and we flow. So as new opportunities come, we seize the opportunity, and then sometimes we pivot. So we started our own property management company to manage our own properties. And we've done that well for about 4 years, 4.5 years. We've been in the process of shutting that company down in order to outsource that, because I'm not a great day-to-day operator, but other
You're a
people are.
visionary.
I'm much more visionary. I can do the integration. I can do the operations in certain places. I'm amazing.
Right.
Managing the people is not one of them. And managing the tenants is not one of them. I can try really, really hard, and I have done that. A lot of effort. But it's a very, very heavy task for me, where other people it's very, very light. And it's very easy.
Right.
Now, I say that we're pivoting because as of a couple days ago, we may start our own co-living property management company that we're going to roll out to multiple markets across the country with one of our good friends, Jackie.
Yeah. I
So
got a call
really,
scheduled with her this Saturday.
yeah, she's so amazing. So it looks like she's going to help us rinse and repeat, create the systems and the processes and the technology, and oversee the hiring and the training and coaching local property managers. We're going to start in the Charlotte area, and then when we get everything dialed in, then we'll go to another market, and then another market, and then another market. And we can
My
help
goal
roll
is
it.
to piggyback on you and see if I can get in there as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more the merrier.
So
we're going to do this together. It's not
absolutely.
about me. It's not about you. It's not about one person. It's about together we all win.
So you mentioned earlier, I thought that you said not a rehab, but like did you say you have a refurbish or we had like furniture? I guess. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
The remodeling company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun story. So I ended up partnering. So I like the first several years, we hired everything out and subbed everything out to different subcontractors and handymen, and it's draining. Like it is that's a tough thing to do. That um, everyone's different. There's not standard pricing. Exactly how do you quote things? How much does stuff cost? How long do things take? In what order do you do the remodel? Um, it's a beast to really get to know and to do it well. And it's very difficult to do it extremely well. So I ended up partnering together with a really good friend and somebody that had his own crew. We started our own. We ended up taking one of my LLCs that has been open for a long time, and then he brought his whole crew after we'd done a project or a couple projects together, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be great. We used my LLC just because it had been open for 2 years, and there's advantages to banking and lending and those kinds of things.
Sure.
Uh, six
Is that
months
the
later,
only siblings?
yeah, here's the but part of it. Um, okay, the exciting part, one of the reasons that we partnered together is we bought several properties, and I had enough work for this crew for 6 of the next 8 months. I was like, why don't we just partner together, and that way we'll just do life together, and then we'll go buy more properties. We can bring in like and fill in the gaps to
Sure.
fill those other 2 months in, no problem. And then by that time, we'll be running 2, 3, 4 crews. By the end of the year, we'll have 5 crews running. The reality became very different. We lost $10,000 on one job. We lost $2,000 on another job. He starts going out and doing sales and selling bathrooms in addition to the properties that we'd already purchased. In 6 months, we lost $202,000,
Wow.
and everybody had to go
Right.
because we were not following the systems and the processes, the checks and balances, the controls that were in place. They were not being enforced. Another big, like we were not collecting deposits on every job like we were supposed to. We were not doing change orders like we were supposed to. Every customer did not pay like when the job was complete. It was one of those like, what's happening? Like, how do we get this far off? It's terrible.
Right.
Um, logging pictures and entering a daily log with here's the pictures that the remodel crew is doing every single day. So we have visibility through the technology, and people weren't doing that. Even, and I'm amazing at the back end. So I'm sitting in my office, and the crew's out running around, and the crew leaders and the warehouse material guys doing his thing, and we just did not do a good job.
Gotcha.
And so it turned bad really quickly. And I've tried to hire other people, and for various reasons it did not work. But the good thing, we learned a lot through the process. I know what to look for, how to manage a crew, or for somebody else to manage for me, more
Right.
than that.
Exactly.
Um, but we've also had a warehouse that we started filling up with any extra materials that we bring back. We bought in bulk, which sounds really good, especially from a book education, like from a classroom perspective. Let's buy in bulk, and then we're going to use it in the next 3 months or 6 months anyways. Except that volume did not always come through, or you end up buying 12 2x4s, and you need 10 because how much does it cost if if one of the crew members has to go to the store and then come back to the job site. Costs about $100 plus whatever you buy. And so it doesn't take that many runs back and forth to the store in order to add to justify $3,000 to $5,000 worth of materials that you have on stock in order to reduce those extra runs. So that material is then sat in the warehouse. And then as we had crew turnover, then they didn't always go back to the old materials. Although we always encouraged and we always tried to do that.
Right.
God knew that there was going to be this huge hurricane that came through Western North Carolina, and it was terrible, as you know, and as our country became aware of it. And cities were wiped out, the water came up. City houses that have been in families for generation after generation after generation, the water had never come up. And what happened 2 months ago? The water came up, and it came up quick, and it came up, and it wiped out whole cities. It wiped out houses. It came down the mountain and took out some trailers and then bypassed other trailers right next to it. But we had the great opportunity that we could go, and we tried to sell all these extra materials, and we sold thousands of dollars worth of materials. But even after we had sales multiple weekends, we posted stuff on Facebook Marketplace. We tried to sell stuff. We tried to give stuff away. Then the hurricane came through, and we knew that this was exactly where God called us to give.
That's right.
And so one of our best friends, she's her God-given gifts and talents to coordinate and go on social media and say, who needs help? And she found a family that really needed a bunch of help, and we went and helped them. And then she went and took pictures of all these different things in our warehouse. And so then while the guys were working the second half of the first day at this one family's house, the girls then took this 15-foot U-Haul stuff that was packed up with all the rest of our remodeling things and the materials and tools and they went house to house to house to all these other families. I need a door. I need a bathtub. I need a kitchen sink. I need some wood or some trim or some whatever it is. And they gave, and we gave, and we gave, and we got to see God work in such an amazing way. And then on Sunday,
you actually helped install a lot of that stuff too, right?
We did. We spent Saturday installing, and most of this, everything had already been torn out. Yeah, we installed exterior patio doors, interior bathroom doors, flooring, trim, cabinets, cabinet countertops. I don't know. The list goes on and on. The amount of stuff that we were able to accomplish in one day, it's mind blowing. It's only because here's what God did.
Right.
It's all for Him. And the greatest thing is I was blessed so much more than the people that we gave to. And how many of us have a chance to give, or we want to give, but we don't know who to give to?
Sure. Absolutely.
And so sometimes when people don't, they're afraid, or they don't want to be shamed, or they don't want to oh, no one's going to help me, or no one wants to help me. The reality is actually the opposite. Most of us want to help. We just do not know who to help or who needs it the most.
And just in case people don't know, you actually went to Asheville, which is one of the cities that got hit the hardest. I think next to, was it Boonesville? I think the next one that was got hit really bad as well.
Yeah,
so
Asheville and Boone.
I want to highlight that fact because you went to basically the epicenter of where all the damage was to help people that were in need. Where you were watching the news, a lot of people weren't getting the help that they needed, and it's amazing how people come together as a community to help one another out. So I would just kind of publicly want to say thank you for doing that, because I just wish I was in a position to do that for them as well. So thank you for doing, taking your time, your materials, seeing a need, and helping fulfill that need so that people can kind of return back to normalcy. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. I mean, don't misunderstand me. Like, we gave a lot, but the amount that we gave is nothing compared to what other people gave. Um, and it was like we were blessed more than anything. And I encourage other people to give. If you see or create your own opportunity to give, go and give. Not because you will be blessed, but you will be blessed in such a major way. It's just part of human nature, and that's what we're called to do, is to give and help one another and lift each other up,
Awesome.
especially when we need help. And the people in those
Agreed.
communities need a lot of help.
Yeah. So I want to kind of bring it back around to co-living. Has there been any, let's say, horror stories that you've had, or have you had any problems with? You have the one house, you had five, now going to be seven bedrooms, with parking an issue, having people get along in the same house an issue. Tell us some stories that you have from being an investor in a co-living house.
We actually have been really lucky, I think. We certainly have had times when there was water in the basement, and there's challenging situations like that. But we've had these houses for 5 years, two of them with uh, one's a 4 bedroom, one's a 5 bedroom, and this year it became a seven. But we have not had big problems with tenants, at least not yet. We've had
Right, knock
trees,
on wood.
big tree that fell, took out the fence. We've had some different things like that. Actually, it was interesting this fall. Actually, when the hurricane came through, we had some water in the basement of our 7 bedroom, 3 bath house, and we had soccer players there from the local university, and these soccer players from all over the world. There's one person that's from the U.S., from in South Florida. The other ones are from Spain and South America, and anyways, they're from all over the place. They said the one of the best times of their entire semester was cleaning up the water as a team. Like, the seven of them taking turns with the wet dry vacs and
Yeah,
scooping up the water. And like, we're living through the hurricane, but we're doing this together. Sometimes doing hard things and the things that are uncomfortable are actually some of the best things that bring people together and unite them.
absolutely.
Um, Coming back to co-living, some people say living with other people. I want to take out all the space that people interact. Any points of conflict, I want to remove that. The reality is that when we do hard things, when we're in uncomfortable situations, that's actually one of the things that bonds people together like no other thing. It's when we
Right.
go through the struggles, it's when we have that conflict, and then we come back together and we say, I still love you. I understand. I appreciate you explaining your perspective. You're not the villain that I thought you were. And people come together in a different way to live together and bond together and create life together. And it's one of
Sounds
those
like
unique, amazing things that it sounds counterintuitive. Oh, there's conflict within a team, a sports team, a church, or whatever. A lot of times that can be a catalyst to create the strongest unifying situation of anything. It's through
yeah,
the conflict that we succeed. It's through the conflict, it's the uncomfortable situations.
yeah. I learned that
That
through the military, so trust me, I know.
Tell us some of your stories. Like, how does that apply?
Well, being in the military, you have people from different backgrounds, from different upbringings, right? Some people had two parents, some people had one parent. Some people lived well, some people live in what they would consider poverty. I was stationed with somebody who was from like the Dakotas. They graduated. Their graduating class was 12 people. Well, my graduating class was 640 people. So I couldn't relate to being in a school that the graduating class was 12, and you have basically K through 12 and under one roof. That to me was hard to understand. There were some people who, quite frankly, never seen a black or Hispanic person before, where they until they came into the military, right? So they kind of look at you all weird, like, "Wow, who is that?" Or like, "I've never seen a person like you." Um, but then you're especially like in basic training, you're away from home. You have nobody else to rely on or count on but the person right next to you. So you kind of end up becoming a family because that's how you're going to survive something that is designed to build teams, right? So we all came. For example, in my case, we had what, probably 50 people in my basic training flight, and by the time we were done, we were 50 strangers, and then at the end, 50 family members plus, right? Because we had our sister and brother flights, so we always did things together. So you left there, and in some cases, you have lifelong friends just from that one instance, even though you don't go to the same assignments or don't see each other for 10, 15 years. I have people that I was stationed with back in 2014 that I could pick up a phone right now, and it was like we would never. It hadn't been 14, 15 years since we've seen each other. So that's why I would say I could relate to that very easily. Which is kind of switching a little bit up. Uh, it's interesting because I have some been in some of the same trainings for co-living, but it seems like you have a little bit more modified buy box than I do for co-living. Like for me, I kind of do the Sam Wager, 2,000 square feet or bigger, where it seems like some of yours may be 1,800 square feet, and you're good with that. So kind of digging into that a little bit. Have you found that to be an issue using or acquiring a property that's a little bit smaller than that to do by the room to make sure that you not only are able to cover the mortgage for that house, but also still pull a profit? Or um, is it been long term, and then you're going to add the extra rooms so that those could now benefit being co living?
Yes. So we have our first co-living house is in Phoenix. And then we're going to be building out co-living houses in the Charlotte area next. Um,
Round up,
so,
right?
well, that's the thing that we're figuring out right now. We've pivoted kind of back and forth and trying to figure out the exact model.
Gotcha.
And right now we're a little bit back and forth. I met with another company last week, and they do ground up construction for co-living in the Houston area, and they
Oh,
they
wow.
have models in several other cities as well. And they will build the house as, let's say, a 4-bedroom, 4-bath house with a big master bedroom, a den, and a dining room. And then, but they already run the plumbing and the electrical to then chop that master bedroom down in half and add another bathroom, and then convert the den and the dining room into 2 more bedrooms and bathroom.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they're building it out so that it's listed and like officially with the city as 4-bedroom, 4-bath, and let's say it's 1,800 or 2,000 square feet. But then they convert it as soon as they get certificate of occupancy. And the city and the permits and inspectors, like everyone's on the same page. They're not hiding anything,
Right.
but they are doing things methodically to fit into the boxes that they have to fit into for lending, especially for lending purposes.
Right.
And so a mortgage company, if you've got a house that's that has more than 5 bedrooms, it goes in this other bucket where 5 bedrooms and smaller, it fits in a very normal packaged. And so they package up those loans and sell them from mortgage company to mortgage company. But if you have a unicorn and you've got 6 or 7 or 10 bedrooms and bathrooms, they don't have another property like that. And so that makes it very difficult for them to sell that mortgage. Therefore, they
Gotcha.
don't want to go into the mortgage either because they cannot, like, they do not have an exit strategy.
Right.
And so we have to think through some of those individual, like the little weird pieces, just to make sure that that we can refinance it, that we can find similar properties to get comps for as we want to refinance and pull cash out in the future, or if we did need to sell it for whatever reason.
Awesome.
But
So,
so we are planning on doing new construction and starting that next, maybe our first new construction house in the next 1 to 2 months. And so we're going to be looking for that land here in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I'm in talks with several different builders to go ahead and put those plans in place. And that way we can start executing. And then we're also trying to figure out, do we buy existing houses? Because that's a quick way to add a few co-living houses. You buy something that's almost rent ready, you throw up a wall, and then typically you want 2 bedrooms for every 1 bathroom. If you have more than
right.
that, you can go 3. Some people say you can go 4, but it's best if you either have 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms per bathroom.
Right.
It's a much better experience for the residents.
Agreed.
And so we'll probably do a few of those, like where we buy an existing house, as we start building up and expanding our portfolio, and as our new co-living property manager comes up to speed and she can take on more and more and more over the next 6-8 months, while we're bringing on and the new construction houses are taking shape. And then the floodgates open, because then we can start, right? So then we'll go buy 10 lots that are side by side or in a common neighborhood. And then you just send that construction crew right down the line like an assembly line. And then you buy 20, and then you buy 50. And then you can do fun things like put in a walking trail and a Zen garden, and you can have little gardens that people walk to, and you can rent out or assign, this is resident A's like garden space, and this is resident B, and this is resident C. And they don't necessarily all have to be in the same house. Like you can have it in a community area, or you can have it somewhere else. But there's some really fun things that we can do for, like, to create community of, especially of single people with no kids and no pets. We need to create community, things that bring them together. Is that,
You know,
what
it's
do you
funny.
think about that?
No, I agree with you. I kind of wanted to pivot a little bit because you mentioned kids. You know, you and I both are fathers, and you know, a lot of investors, they invest, you know, to create generational wealth. And you know, I had the pleasure of meeting your son up in Kalispell when he came out to one of our community camps, and so I was just curious if you could share how much he kind of got that bug, right, for, you know, a young kid that didn't know nothing about entrepreneurship or owning a business. He spent, what, let's say 3 days with a whole bunch of old farts compared to him, right? Can you share that experience a little bit?
James fell in love with our community, with the owners club and the other. I mean, there's more people than just owners club. There were people in sub 2 and Gator and other people there as well.
Yeah.
But the way the community embraced James, and James just turned 14. He's in 8th grade, and the way that James embraced the community and engaged, it was the most amazing experience, because it allowed James to open up and be himself in a way that most of us do not get to be our authentic self.
Yeah.
And people loved him for that. And so he comes back and he talks about, I want to get in real estate. I want to help do wholesaling. I want to like, and he's outgoing, but he's not that outgoing.
Right.
But that experience allowed him to step out of his comfort zone and become more and more. And he's not afraid to talk to people. And the way he had
Talking
the
or I
opportunity
was talking that weekend.
but help and uplift and encourage and like speak truth and love to the people around him. Absolutely amazing. Actually, do you mind if I ask James? He can speak for himself.
Sure,
He just
absolutely. Bring him on.
in the room.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, James?
What's up?
Jose was just asking about your experience at community camp in Montana.
It was amazing.
You want to elaborate a little bit? Like, what'd you like about it?
Oh, how everybody was just so nice, and I didn't think people were gonna be that nice. And then, just everybody was so like uplifting, and always like wanting to like help others, and always asking what they can do to help.
Did they encourage you to get into the real estate game, or did they ask you if you wanted to get into it?
Yeah, they're asking me what I knew and like if I wanted to get into the real estate business.
And have you tried to do anything since then, or do we need a lot of fire up your butt and get it going?
I've been doing some of the wholesaling training.
Okay. Good job.
I did one or two last night.
Okay. Putting out offers, you mean?
We're working. Justin and John Piquel.
Okay.
They sent me some trainings to do, like videos to watch to help me learn. And so I've been listening to those videos and those lessons.
That's awesome. So for the audience,
so instead of taking on the entire wholesale process from start to finish, James is going to take on a piece of it. What a great opportunity! Like James can call and set and do an initial needs assessment.
Yep.
And then set up an appointment for somebody that knows all the ins and outs and all the little details.
Awesome.
Right? Or you can make those initial introductions. Like there's certain things that you don't have to be a super expert at everything start to finish with a buyer's list, with the seller's list, with the financing, understand all the contracts, all the everything in order to jump in and be a part of a team.
Right. And Justin's a good person to learn from. He's what, 19, 20 years old? So he's still fairly young himself, and he's, from what I hear, is killing it. And as far as wholesaling is concerned, so that's awesome.
He's the one who actually records all the videos.
Are you learning a lot?
Yeah.
I'm about to get my daughters to reach out to him so he can get some of those videos.
But what a great way to learn and grow and like take a piece, right? We're not you eat an elephant a bite at a time.
Right.
And so let's make sure it's digestible. And Pace Morby is doing a lot of that too with the No One Left Behind challenge.
Agreed.
And other challenges that he's doing. Like, I'm going to partner you up with somebody else that's a closer that knows this piece and that piece and the other thing. Your job is to do this much, and somebody else is going to do this much, and somebody else is going to do this much, someone else is going to do that much, right? And then as a team, we're going to execute the whole process start to finish in a week. And people are like, you can close a whole deal in a week?
And everybody is playing to their strengths. Right? Because you have your closer, you have your scheduler, integrator. So that's awesome. So, when we were in Boston, Pace had everybody in Owners Club so you should tell everybody what your haves and what your needs are. So can you share that a little bit with us? What are your haves? What do you have to offer other people? And then what are you looking for? What do you need to help build your business, grow your business? I'll just give you the floor on that.
All right. We are dreaming really big. Thanks for coming in, James.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, if you can shut the door real quick. So we're dreaming. We're assembling the teams right now to do some really big things. So we've got people that are going to handle the remodel, that are raising private capital. We've got somebody else that's amazing at overseeing the property management for co-living. That's going to train and coach the individual property managers. We've got somebody that's going to oversee the remodels. 2 different people that have run remodeling teams and overseen remodeling teams in multiple cities and multiple states. And so they're going to help us coach and train and make sure that we're getting the right price at the right schedule as we go in and remodel or do, especially the larger maintenance items.
Gotcha.
We're also getting into septic tank restoration, where we're going to be able to take existing septic tanks that are failing, right, where there's water and liquids coming up to the surface of the ground, the system's failed. And with a unique patented bacteria in a specific system that adds additional oxygen and things into the septic tank, that bacteria goes and fully cleans up all the solids, goes down the drain lines, eats all the solids in the drain lines, and then goes into the dirt and starts cleaning the dirt up as well. So now it fully restores the functionality and how much liquid the ground can support. Really amazing. Awesome. Yeah. It is. So we've agreed to what we're going to do, and we're actually going to have our own private label. And that way we're going to go do big time marketing and do some really fun viral videos, create a funnel, and help guide people in. And then people can either buy the system and install it themselves, or we'll partner with a local installer. And these things can be installed by a handyman or a like a landscape company, or it's in 2 to 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it just works. And there's intellectual property, it's copyrighted, like all these things. So that's pretty neat. But it was developed 25 years ago. The guy worked on it for 5 years. He started on it 30 years ago. 25 years ago, he perfected it. But they've done almost no volume. It's the situation of the better mousetrap. But if you don't market and push it out to the world, no one knows about it. Exactly. Now I think they've done 12,000 units in 25 years. And that's not bad. And the guy said, I can count on 2 hands and 1 foot the number of times that our system has failed or that there was an issue. And it was not actually due to our product. It was because the soil, or because of like there's something else, like we shouldn't have even put the product there.
Gotcha.
But really amazing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we're growing and expanding that marketing. We're putting that team together right now. But where people can help is if people have marketing ideas, if people have capital and money that they want to invest in, they want to be a part of co-living, or they want to lend on it, whether it's through a self-directed IRA or if it's through their own money that they've saved up, whether it's for retirement or it's their own investments. They can lend 20 or 50,000 or more, and then we can put that into real estate. It's secured by the property, so it's very, very safe. It's going to generate great cash flow, and then depend upon what that individual investor or lender wants to do, we can get their cash back in 6 to 8 months. And a lot of times we can get it back shorter than that. We also have options for 3 years and then 5 years and up. And so depending upon that specific person's investment strategy, we can be as safe and short-term or long-term of an investment as what they're looking for. And we can invest in co-living. And then we're also going to be rolling out the septic tank restoration to some different markets. And they'll be across the country within probably the next 6 to 12 months. and we're ramping up to make sure that the manufacturing and the supply chain, all that side is also going to be able to provide a great experience.
Doing some great things, man. So I always like to end this with, trying to help people find you. So do you have a IG, YouTube channel, Facebook? If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, see how they could help you or see how they could JV or collaborate with you, how would they do that?
Sure. So you can reach me both Instagram and YouTube at Real, REAL, Deal, DEAL, David Ross, ROSS. Both of them are the same for Instagram and YouTube. And then Facebook is David Ross, and there's a whole bunch of numbers, but there's links on the other on the Instagram and YouTube to the Facebook account. And then my mobile phone number is 828-308-8727. And my email, if you want to email me directly, is david@bolt, BOLT, proper T's with an IES, LLC.com. And what about you, Jose? You're doing co-living.
Me as it is, man. Well. They're on my channel. They know how to get a hold of me. This is all about you today.
So what do you need right now?
What I need right now, I'm looking for long-term private money lenders. Most of the people that are in my network are 6 months and shorter. They may extend to 12 months, but some of the deals that I'm working on would require like 24, 36 months involvement or, relationship with me. So those are people I don't have in my network. So I'm looking for people that are willing to either partner with me or be lenders for a longer term than just 12 months. And I can do that, and then even some wholesalers that have creative deals, right? Because I'd rather get into a creative deal than a traditional cash deal. So those are two things that I'm really looking for. Working on lending, so on top of co-living, working on my lending side. So I'm kind of like you. I have 2 or 3 different fishing poles in the pond, so I have build multiple streams of income coming in. So I'm doing the earnest money deposits and transactional funding, as well as investing in my co-living. I'm kind of pivoting a little bit, doing some fund-to-fund manager, raising for bigger projects. What I'm trying to do, and I say trying because I'm new to it, so I like to make sure I know what I'm doing before I get myself in trouble with the SEC, is learn how to create a fund of funds, so that way I can legally have the proper entity, the proper structure, and make sure that not only myself but the investor that trust me with their funds are protected and understand the process, and all of the statements, all the documentation is all on the up and up, so people have a comfort that I'm doing right by them, and that they were right by trusting me with their, like you said earlier, like your self-directed IRA or something like that. So that's what I got, buddy.
Wonderful. I just completed the Fund of Funds merit badge semester course.
Okay.
With Pace Morby, and it's really good. Ted Head leads it's a 4-week course, and they get into some really good stuff. I highly recommend it.
I'll have to check that out. See what happens when you don't go in the vault. You don't realize what's actually in there.
Yeah, and Ted is such a wealth of knowledge, and he leads Pace's fund, or multiple funds that Pace has.
Right.
And so he's a part of the community, right? There's so many people that walk around like this, and they want to hold their information so tight because it's my secret sauce.
Right.
And yet, if we walk around like this, we can hold so much more information. But there's more that falls off to all the people around us. So we all win together.
I love it.
It's collaboration over competition. Together, we're going to help one another I'm going to share my best stuff. You share your best stuff. The next person over is going to share their best stuff. And together we will change the industry. We will revolutionize. We're going to flatten out the barriers to entry.
Right. I
and
agree
help
with
each
you.
other. It's for the benefit of our country, for our community. Just like you served in the military, I'm so grateful for that. This is something that each of us that did not serve or that served, it's another way that we can give and help one another.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your support. And I don't want to take too much more of your time, so I appreciate you coming on my podcast and sharing your journey and your stories with us. And again, thank you for what you did and for the folks of Asheville. And I know I'm not going to wait till March to see you again. It'll be either a Zoom like this or at least a phone call. But you've been a great friend. You've been a great mentor of investing with me as we both learn. I appreciate you. I appreciate James, and I look forward to our journey growing together, bud.
Jose, the pleasure is mine. I have learned so much from you, and I appreciate your giving spirit and how you just want to connect and help point people in the right direction. You hear somebody's challenge, and okay, I'm going to connect you to this person and this person. And have you thought about this or that other opportunity? And you just want to help people.
That's all I can do, man. That's what I'm here for.
That's it. That's it. Together. So I appreciate you. Thank you for putting this together. I look forward to doing it again soon.
Absolutely. And to the audience, y'all have a good one. We'll see you on the next episode. And David, like I said, man, we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Jose.
Take care.